some basic digging. We gotta silence that man.
That's not. It's in another room.
Oh, well, it's very loud. As it turns out, Postal Redux, since it is not actually a completely new game, since it is just an HD remaster of an old game, basically, falls under the same ban. So that was removed. Paradise Lost was also removed the next day because it is nothing more than an add-on to Postal 2, which is also banned. So basically everything we've done in the last 19 years was removed from Steam for Germany. And while there's ways around it, they are extremely long, costly, and potentially useless because you have to be able to recertify yourself through their government who banned us, and they have to take a look at it and decide everything's fine. And that doesn't mean they're going to look at the old game and go, well, this is fine to us now. They want you to make modifications that would make it okay. Now, it doesn't matter that other games have blood. It doesn't matter that other games have violence. And I said to them, can we turn the blood green? Not that we really want to do that, but we want people to be able to play the game. And they were like, well, that's not really an answer. That's not a simple fix. So we're kind of in a vortex right now where we could spend a lot of time, money, and effort for absolutely nothing, whereas we could just make our next game, which will absolutely be sold in Germany. So it sucks, and we really feel for you, and we appreciate all the support we've gotten from Germany and the future support we will get. We are not in control of this, and it's a bad situation, and we're sorry.
Just one comment on this. Aside from my initial reaction of being pissed off, here's what I really don't understand, and it's a little political for a moment, and I've kind of been warned not to get too political. But, we've got this thing going on here in our country, America. John right now is in the UK. We just underwent this experience in Germany. Everybody I know in Germany, I've got friends in Germany. I don't have any relatives, but I've got fans in Germany. I talk to every fucking person I know in Germany. They're good people. They're nice people. They're funny people. They're perverted. They're crazy. It's all good. It's all beautiful. This is insanity. The whole fucking country, Germany, it's not the Germany that it was. And it's a disgrace what's happening to your country. I feel for you. And, somebody should, take a postal dildo and shove it up Merkel's ass. I don't know. Something's got to go. But
it's just, look, they're trying to eliminate.
Bullshit. And the problem is for you German people. I mean, I don't know what's next. I actually heard, this is how insane it is, okay? Somebody from Germany writes us and tells us that due to their country's history and a certain episode in their country's history 70 years ago, they feel they have to protect German youth. So in order to protect free speech, they're going to ban Postal. Now, I'm a little fucking confused.
Yeah, I just don't think they understand the language at that point. I don't think they understand what's coming out of their mouth.
It's all stupid, and I do, like Jay said, I thank everyone in Germany. I think everyone everywhere that's whether you like us, you don't like us, you played Postal, bought it, ripped it off. The fact is, we're here to support everyone's opportunity to be creative and do what you want. Don't hurt anybody.
German Gamers Matter. That's our new hashtag. German Gamers Matter. All right, let's segue away from this. There's not much more we can say about it. We don't really know.
German Gamers
German Gamers Matter.
German Gamers Matter.
Yeah, so there you go.
Matter. I love it.
Good. All right, so what we'll move into next is basically the transition from Postal 1 to Postal 2 and how what was basically a really dark, with a little bit of black humor game became this first-person, almost slapstick title. Now, I was around for all of this, and I saw it going down, and it was just a very different change in attitude. Postal 2 gave us the opportunity to do things from the dude's perspective in a different light, and the seriousness just didn't work as well. It was just more about the humor from the start. It was all about, let's make people laugh with this violence.
Yeah. I mean, and it was, from my take, I'm always in favor of new and different and change. So, for instance, people would ask us, "Hey, I really like that 3/4 isometric view. How come you guys did a first-person shooter?" Well, why not? Okay, and then with Postal 3, it was like, what happened? I was expecting a first-person shooter. Well, change is okay. It's fine. So, and who doesn't love humor? And one of the things I actually experienced this with the original Postal, and then obviously with Postal 2, it went way overboard. There are very few games that you can, and I go back to the arcade days. When the arcade days, you're in an arcade, somebody's ahead of you, you're waiting for them to lose with no more coin, so it's your turn to drop. Okay? Very few games you could watch another player playing and be into it or have fun or laugh at it. When Postal 1 first came out, and I can remember this with TV interviews, people watching it for the first time, especially when it would be the marching band, everyone bust out laughing. It's funny. It's that whole idea of, it's funny until somebody gets hurt, and then it's absolutely friggin' hysterical. Well, with Postal 2, there's so much, whatever you want to call it, stupid humor, over the top, but it is funny. And why shouldn't it be? Which to me is, again, just, I never understand this whole banning thing. Like, this is a funny game. You play it, enjoy it. There's no real winning or losing. It's all about, hey, was that fun? Everybody says yes. That's all that counts. And as far as I'm concerned, that's why I'm proud of it. That's why it's a success.
Well, there was a lot more to it. When people hated on it at the beginning, when I would talk to people I know, they would say like, well, it was fun for 10 minutes and then I wasn't fun anymore. It's like, well, if all you're doing is going into the game and trying to use all the weapons and shoot everybody, like, yeah, every game is going to get old real quick. There's only so many ways you can just go on a stupid game massacre. What was different about Postal 2 was the missions were so normal, so average. Like, you really just have to go get milk. You really just have to go cash your check. You really just have to do stupid things that have ridiculous situations where you are in control of what you do. Now, it's not exactly completely do what you want to do. There's only multiple scenarios for each one. But, you could play through the whole game without killing people. You could play through the whole game only pissing on people. You won't get very far. And, you could just be an absolute murderous, rampaging motherfucker. And, the people that actually gave it a real chance in the old days really, really loved it. And it took a long time for that love to really translate because, we didn't have a lot of distribution. There just wasn't a lot of people domestically here that could play the game. And the only real way they could do it, Vince, can you mute your microphone when that's ringing until you talk?
Yeah, well,
just hit the mute button while it's ringing. Sorry about that. So, we had a game for sale in Russia, and for whatever reason, Russians by the millions bought our game, and we were very big there. And that's nice, and we went there a lot, and we had a lot of fun. We signed a lot of autographs, oddly enough, and it just didn't happen here. We sold some games, and anywhere the game was on sale, it sold. We made some deals. It was in Best Buy for a little while. It was in a couple other stores, and they always sold out really quickly, but they were gone, and it was kind of like a down and dirty deal. It wasn't really until, John brought to our attention the Greenlight situation, and we decided to put our, real old game onto Greenlight, and, the fans showed their love immediately, and we got accepted almost immediately, and it completely changed the way we do business and the way we deal with fans, and it gave our game to the masses, and the masses decided they wanted to buy it. And John, you want to talk about that a little?
Yeah, that was fun, the Greenlight campaign. In fact, Kurt, if you could Google the video that we did, the campaign video, it's on our YouTube channel, where we've got the we repurposed the petition mission for this, and it's quite clever. So I'll let you guys take a look at that. But yeah, no, it was good. It was good fun, and because we jumped in right at the beginning, and that worked to our favor in a lot of ways. Because back then, Greenlight was a massive deal. It was being posted on every single gaming website. Any game that got greenlit for the first few months, at least.
Well, we actually got yanked from Greenlight at the beginning twice.
Yes, we did. No, it's just the once. But that was more because they didn't think it was a genuine Greenlight. They thought that it was just some fan posting up, hey, we want Postal 2 on Steam. So they actually verified us fairly quickly, and from then on out, it was pretty seamless.
Good. Yeah, no, sorry, it's like we just said, here, let's try this game out, and for whatever reason, I mean, obviously we were one of the bigger indie developers that posted something on there, but we got all of this love that we weren't particularly used to. We had a lot of cult fans historically, and like I said, in Russia, people lined up to get our autographs at shows, which is like a total mind fuck still to me, thinking of the hundreds, if not thousands, of autographs we signed in that country over time. But all of a sudden, people were showing love in a not necessarily domestic, but in a form that we are very, very familiar with, and it just gave us an opportunity for people all around the world to get our game. We always offered our games available online, but unless you were on Steam from the very beginning, you were nowhere, because Steam, even the third, fourth year they were in business, was 75% of the digital download market in the world. So getting on Steam was humbling, and to the millions of people that have bought our game on Steam, there is nothing but thanks that we have for you. To the 20+ thousand people that have given us positive reviews for all of our games on Steam, it's just as incredibly humbling as it could be, because historically we're used to the bullshit from the media. I mean, we live in the life of media fucking hating us. And there's reasons. Obviously, we're different. We don't give them advertising money. We don't give them scoops like they really want. We don't give shit. We just say, here's our fucking game. You want to play it? No, go fuck yourself. All right, cool. Well, you give us a 0 out of 10 computer gaming world. Well, guess what? We're going to put that on our fucking box, because we love that shit. Our shirts now say worst game ever under the word Postal. And we love that fucking title, because Robert Coffey, 12 years ago, decided to give us the first 0 in history and say that until they package syphilis, Postal 2 is the worst product ever foisted upon consumers. Well, you know what? Great.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. And, if only all these people on Steam agreed with you, we would be doing something else now. And we're not. We're still making games. Love it or hate it. We're here, and we're here to stay. So Steam gave us that in, and we're using that into the best of our abilities. Obviously, our first game on Steam was not Postal 2. It was this little game that was made by somebody else called Postal III. It's not something we talk about a lot unless we are engaged, but I figure since we're doing history now, we might as well at least give a basic overview of how things got to where they were. And one of the common themes that I see when I'm out talking to fans or on Reddit is, when they talk about us, they say, well, Running with Scissors outsourced the project. They outsourced the project. Well, that's the wrong word. We did not outsource the project. Postal 2 was an overwhelming fucking success in Russia. Our publisher was a company called Akela, and they were very adamant for years that they wanted to make Postal 3. And we were like, no. We put it off. And finally we were like, you know what? These guys have been making some high-quality games. They've got a really big team. They're doing really well. Let's give them a shot. And we had an in-house team that was doing the lead design, and we let them all do the development. And everything seemed to be going well until the economy crashed. Once the economy crashed here, it crashed around the world, and Russia took a huge, massive fucking hit. Oil dropped to basically nothing, and Russia's money was all of a sudden gone, especially the video games industry. If you don't know, the video game industry in Russia is very fickle. They have the piracy market, which is huge, and then they have the legit market, which is almost equally as huge. The problem is the only way to combat piracy there is to sell games for the same price that they sell on the pirate. So if a game costs $3 at the pirate store, then Akela sells their game for $3, which means you can sell millions of fucking units there and you are not filthy rich. You're doing okay. You've sold a lot of games and people know who you are. Like I said, we signed thousands of fucking autographs. But, it's not exactly a rich industry out there financially. And the second the economy tanked there, all the good employees left. They moved into the banking industry. Real quick synopsis, A team became the B team. B team became a canceled product. Product got reinvigorated with the C squad. Yeah, the C
And
Squad came in.
And it dribbled out with the Diarrhea D team.
Yeah, they fucking took a liquid load out of their ass onto Steam. Our first game on Steam was a completely unfinished steaming pile that didn't really work for a lot of people. And, the way it went, they put the game out, and it was the way they finished off their company, basically. They released the game, they patched it once, and they fired the team. We had no control over any of the assets. All the code was in Russian. We couldn't fix it. We still can't. We tried to get them to do things about it. It didn't happen. So we pulled our name off of it as quickly as humanly possible, and we have distanced ourselves from it ever since. Now, looking back at the game, it's funny. The audio in the game is very good.
If it works.
Yeah, I did all the audio. We produced all of that out here. The design itself was done by us. So the game actually has a very funny story. The actual follow-through of the gameplay is shit. And it's something that could probably be fixed, but it's not going to happen by us. We can't. It's just not going to happen at this time. We'd like to, but we are going to move onward and upward from that. So
it's worth pointing out it was supposed to be a free roaming game. It ended up being linear because of the Russians. That wasn't the original design.
Yeah, no, it was. It was supposed to be a big. Well, not just that. Source was supposed to give us the ability to do that, and it didn't. So if we had continued using Unreal, we would have gotten the world streaming abilities, but Source didn't add that feature. So we never ended up having a massive world. And that's not really the problem with the game. It's a problem with the game. But I don't know. If you guys have any questions about Postal 3, we'd be glad to pretend like we know the answers. But
here's what I would just take this opportunity. If there is a Russian fan out there who is experienced enough in coding and would like to take a crack at it, who knows? Maybe there's some way we can, the folks at Akala were good people. So this was never they're actually very nice people. That's what made part of the breakup harder. But that was the reality at the time. But boy, I would love to have the right personnel, but it's like Jay's saying, it's not something that we can do. It really has to be an effort, a homegrown effort, from Russia. And I don't know if such a person or team exists and has enough interest, contact us, and I'll gladly see what we can do to revive the folks there. And who the hell knows?
I would personally like to say, if you are that into it, let it go. Let us make the next game.
Well, we're not going to do it. We can't do it.
I know. It's just it's not going to happen. It's a big project. One coder is not going to fix that game. It would take a team. It would take a fucking mountain because there's a lot wrong with it. And
yeah, but it starts. Look, my point is, it's only possible if we have people from Russia that are interested in basically stepping up and saving it. And if not, I understand. I'm just saying we now have an opportunity to speak and reach people that we wouldn't have before. So,
let's segue away from that dump. And here's another fan question. Someone wants to know: Have we thought about making a Postal game from MikeJ's perspective, like start as a basic employee and end up as the mad cow zombie wrecking paradise? We have not thought about that. That is not in our current game plan. But I do live that life, and I did become the mad cow. And thank you all for drinking my udder milk and shooting me in the dick. It's an honor to have all that, and that's where we're gonna leave it. We'll leave the game for the Postal dude and whatever else we do next. So. Thanks for that question. I don't think anybody else has anything else to add about that. So, to basically go from Postal 3 to, wow, we just got on Steam for the first time with this fucking garbage, and what are we going to do next? We were like, hey, can we get Postal 2 on Steam? And at the time, Valve was still like, no. And then magically, they brought up this Greenlight system, which gave the fans the ability to buy our game. Fast forward to a year later, and we're like, holy shit, all of these people have bought our game. What are we going to do for them? What can we do next? And the big next project was obviously like, well, we could get Unreal 4 and start working on a game. We don't really have the team for it. We don't really have the experience. What's the easiest path to helping people out that bought our product? Because we have to say thank you to them. And the way we said thank you to them was making a full add-on to Postal 2 called Paradise Lost. If you guys haven't played it, it is basically our answer to Postal 3. It is our version of the next game following Postal 2. And, John's here. John was the producer for this game. Me and him, I was on a flight back from New York one day, and me and him were bullshitting on chat. And we started writing this really basic design document for what Paradise Lost could be. And we were just laughing about it, going, oh, this would be really cool to do this. And by the time the flight was over, it was like, holy fuck, we've got a pretty cool game. Like, this can happen. And kind of just went from there.
John, talk about it from your perspective, because you lived and breathed it more than anybody.
Yeah, sure. Well, a Postal 2 add-on is something we actually discussed before we even got onto Steam originally. I remember back when, I think it was just after Postal 3 had come out, we were sort of saying, what could we possibly do? And I said, well, let's do some DLC for Postal 2. Why not? And back then it was going to be called Return to Paradise, and it was a very similar kind of thing, although it was just going to be the town had been destroyed by nuclear blast. Champ had run back into Paradise, and Dude had followed him back. So that basic idea was in place long before we even started production of the game. And then, as we say, the game came out on Steam. It sold really well. Mike and I had that conversation about where we were going to take it. And we got some rough ideas in. Like, I had the idea that we were going to have 2 different weather zones. We're going to have the nuclear winter, and then we're going to have like the sunny part on the bottom, just to give it a bit of just to make it look a bit more interesting, and so the maps weren't exactly the same as they were in Postal 2.
Right.
Then one of our interns, he was just doing QA for us at the time, Ricky, sort of says, hey, this is, I like this idea, but I think I can expand on this. Would you mind if I did a design document for you guys? And we're like, well, sure, let's see what you got. And, he came back with this, well, what was basically exactly what came out in the end. I mean, we followed the design almost to the letter, but there's 1 or 2 ideas we dropped, and that was it. And we loved it.
You guys dropped out my Vince Desi running the gas station called Vince Desi's Pump and Dump, and you could buy gas and toilet paper. Those ideas basically got fanned out, but that was mine. Vince Desi's Pump and Dump. Don't forget that.
Yeah, the Farsi was in the original design that you wrote, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ideas that you and I had, but then Ricky just took it and really took it to the next level.
Ricky did a great job, and he's our lead designer now. He does a really good job at what he does. He also creates all of our trailers, which are phenomenal. So if you guys ever want to shout out to Ricky, just shout out to him and tell him the quality job he's doing now, because he really took the reins on design. That's for fucking sure. Paradise Lost has done really well on Steam. A lot of people buy it, and a lot of people love it. It's one of the highest rated DLCs available on Steam, and that's pretty ridiculous. I think it's close to a 97% positive on there still. Is that right, John?
Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's ridiculous. It's truly ridiculous to us because like I said earlier, we're kind of used to the media shitting on us, so we kind of wade in the 50 plus or 50 minus % Metascore, which is fine. We don't care. But when it comes to the fans reviewing us, it's almost all positive, which to me is weird because with my life on the internet, the way I've seen things go, and this is kind of an old Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back adage, when you give somebody a voice, they use that voice to bitch. So if I give somebody the ability to complain, they're going to fucking complain. And in my head, I would almost expect there's got to be more than 5% of people that bought this game that hate it, and there probably is a lot more than that, but they're not using the review system to trash us, because even if they hate our game, they probably still respect the fact that, wow, these guys are fucking out of their minds. They're still here working on this game, which is really fucking cool, and we get love for it. Like it or not, we're getting love, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, never confused your fans with the press.
No, definitely
in some ways, I almost feel like Donald Trump when it comes to the press. Very rarely, and I've done over 500 interviews, very rarely do you get an honest experience with the press. I will say more recently, having done an interview with Playboy and some others, we've been treated pretty good, and I appreciate that. They just were, we've always said you can ask us anything, but please print what our answers are. Don't edit, don't create, don't. I mean, I could remember one crazy time I called an editor back after the interview, and I was like, dude, you never even asked me that question. I didn't answer, I was reading it and I was like, I didn't say that. And I'm looking at the question, I'm saying, he never asked me that. And I called this editor back, and he actually says to me, well, I thought it would help round out the overall story. I was like, what the fucking you're a journalist? You're a jerk office. That's what you are. I never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, but I mean, this goes way back. We remember talking to editors that we talked to editors that loved us. They played Postal 2. They liked it. They put their review out, and the review basically said, this game fucking sucks, and here's the 3. And it's like, dude, you said you loved it. Yeah, but I wasn't allowed to print that story. And it's like, well, that's... I mean, we've lived it. It's what it is. We don't care anymore.
No, I don't.
Just quite frankly,
as the fans, like you say.
If the fans well, I don't even mind. I like them doing a review even if it's shit. If a company's going to review us, just do it. Shit on us. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, all I really care about is the feedback from the people that actually bought the game, not the people that we gave the game to give us coverage. And it's not even close to...
Well, the one thing I would say to fans or gamers out there that might pay attention to reviews or scores, it's a funny, odd thing, but quite often a review, we get a low score. If you read the review, you would think we'd be getting an 8 or a 9. And then the score is much lower. So it's kind of interesting. The review is positive to, put it this way. We just had that the review came out in Spanish. They gave us a 6 at the end. I was reading it. I was surprised because I was like, if you read it, you're like, well, this will be at least an 8. They love the whole review is how much fun. It's great. It's this, it's that, everything. And then the final score. So I would just suggest to anyone, don't look at scores. If you're going to take the time, read the review, see what people say. And then obviously most important, try it yourself.
Yeah, well, it's kind of different if you look at the movie industry. The reviews never have scores. They kind of have the review written, and then Rotten Tomatoes lists them all, and if it's relatively positive, they give it a fresh, and if it's relatively negative, they give it a rotten. And you get a fresh score as long as you're over 60%. And that's in movies, 60% is still a good movie. In games, it's sort of looked at differently. If you're not an 8, then you're garbage. And it's like, that's not the truth.
It's another good reason why we're doing this, and we're getting to speak directly to everyone that's out there, our fans, gamers in general, or even just somebody that, whatever, just has a curiosity to see what we're, who we are, what we're about.
Yeah. Well, we're approaching an hour here, and I just wanted to give us a little time.
Shit.
Just give us a little time to sign out.
I'm standing up for a reason.
Yeah, you've been sitting down a while. So, the last real topic, there was a question, was any interesting plans we want to share? And, obviously, we're going to make the next Postal someday. But aside from the co-op and the add-on we're putting out for Redux, we are going to be making a completely different title. We're not prepared to say what it is. We're not going to tell you. But just know that it's going to be something good. It's going to be something running with scissors, and we hope you all fucking love it. Actually, Kurt has 5 more questions for us. So, John, is there anything you want to say about the new product that we're not going to say?
Other than it's not what anyone's going to expect. Not really.
That's
Try
right.
to take those questions.
Yeah, okay, Kurt, what are the questions? Give me some questions. What were you saying, John?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say it's actually a game that we've wanted to make, like some of the core team, for a long time now. There's 3 of us that have worked on something very similar in the past as a side project. So we're really excited.
If you're a hardcore Postal fan, it's something you may know, but it's not in the same light. That's the hint we can give, basically.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Get to the questions.
Oh man, your groin must be killing you. Yeah. All right. First question, will we be adding the Christmas mode back to Postal Redux? John, you can field that question.
We hadn't talked about it. It's not out of the question, though. Yeah, maybe. We'll see where we're at come the fall.
Add it. It's great. It's classic. I love the idea.
Well, there you go. Your answer is maybe. If we could change anything in the Postal movie, what would it be? I know Vince has a long-winded opinion about this, so
Oh. My quick response is it's about 15 minutes too long. I wish we had an opportunity to be involved in the edits. The tempo of the movie to me was very disturbing. I mean, so that would be the number one thing I'd like to change was the edit, the length of the film.
I would like to change the director.
Uber's Uber. I'm okay.
Yeah, actually, I don't want to change the director. I just want to change the editor. Because he was the director, the editor.
Right, he was the editor,
the
too.
actor. He was the grip. He was the boy. He had every title in the movie. So whatever. The movie was funny. It's much better than anything else he shit out. And if you haven't had a chance to watch it, you should take a watch. Don't pay for it, but if you can watch it for free, watch it for free. Next question: what prompted you guys to change the ending in Postal Redux? John, you want to talk about that?
Well, I don't know. It's just a sort of team decision, really. It's something that came up quite early on. For obvious reasons, really. It's a very different world these days. And most of the team, we just said to the team, look, guys, what do you think? Do you think we should keep it as it was, or should we take this opportunity to change it and maybe...
Yeah, and it was kind of shit. It was kind of shit anyway.
Yeah, given your interpretation of what, might have happened between Postal 1 and 2, and, because Postal was very much open to interpretation, so we want to play on that, really.
Yeah.
We just took the opportunity to try something new.
Yeah, and we kind of... we did it with Paradise Lost, and we even did it with Redux. We kind of tie all these things together, and we used Corey as the Postal dude in Postal 3, so we've kind of like kept him around to do various things, and having him as the voice for the therapist at the end of Redux was kind of our way to show like he's there, he's in his head. So this is the ending we wanted to make. We're not exactly the same team from 19 years ago, but we were never in love with the original ending, regardless of what, There's a little picture of Champ, a little hand-drawn picture of Champ, not in Postal 1. Well, he's I guess he is. He's kind of located behind the house. There's a little dog.
It's a good drawing. I don't know who did it. I'm in my son's office in New York.
Okay, last question, which we'll have a very quick answer. Will you guys push the envelope more by adding things like sex, nudity, and more in your next game?
Maybe not in the next game. Maybe in some future game. But I've always felt this. If the internet has a lot of anything, it's fucking porn. And personally, in a game, I don't know, it's I'm happy that we have things like setting people on fire, pissing on people, and throwing up. That kind of stuff I find, maybe it's a sick, dirty sense of humor, but actual sexual intercourse or sexual acts, I'm not against them in games, but it's not really made sense for us in the Postal games we've done to date. So I would not say never, but it's not on the agenda.
Yeah, I mean, pissing's pretty sexual. So.
No, pissing's not
A
sketchy.
few of us on the team have a Vive now, so you never know where that's going to go.
Yeah, we might jump into some of that VR stuff. You never know. And we have one more question. And this is the last one, and it is, what's our opinion of hatred? So, John, you want to take that one first?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very flattering tribute to Postal. I mean, we have a good relationship with the guys that made it. I'm actually going out to see them later in the month. And I enjoyed it. It was a good game. It was it's good as well that it was very different to how Postal Redux ended up. I mean, our game is, of course, still very much based on the original game, whereas they took it in a new direction with destructive environments and a much sort of darker tone. And
yeah. My feeling on it is simple. I mean, they took a lot of heat. I give them a lot of credit, but I'm sure, and I mean, I've spoke with them. What people don't realize is those guys, they put a lot of sweat and effort into making that because they wanted to make a game, because they play it and they have fun doing it. Is it maybe a bit more extreme than for most people's taste? Maybe so, but nobody's forcing you to buy hatred or play hatred.
No,
but I give them a lot of credit.
Yeah, no, they are. They're clearly fans, and they made their tribute to our game, and we obviously took the reins next and remade the original game, and we decided to keep it
Different
the same.
games, different
yeah, no, they're
purpose.
very different games. They didn't remake Postal. They
No.
made a game that was in the same mindset of what their interpretation was of the game, and we definitely commend them for that. And they do show us a lot of love in the press, so it's very cool to see that happening. So yeah, I think that's the end of the questions. Unless Kurt has one more for me here, he's just he's typing. But,
Introduce Kurt. My God, but you're talking about introduce him.
In our chat there is Kurt Willoughby. He's EFWA Games. He is our lead sound designer. He does a lot of other things too. So show him some love. Tell him you really like the way his sounds sounded in the game. He does have one more question, and this is a pretty easy one to answer. Why was Verne Troyer in the movie instead of Gary?
Gary was ill at the time. That's the true answer, regardless of what anybody says or writes. The intention was to have it be Gary. The script and everything was all about Gary, and unfortunately, when we started to plan to go into production, Gary was ill and just unfortunately not able to travel. The film was shot out of Lionsgate Studios up in Vancouver, Canada, and Gary resides in Southern California, and he just couldn't do it.
Yeah, he wanted to be involved, and he got sick. I mean, he's been sick his whole life, but it took a turn for the worse then, and he got better after the movie was done, and he kind of wished he was in it, but there was not much we could do at that point. So that's really the only answer. And I think with that, we'll sign off. That's the end of our first edition of the I Regret Nothing podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. It's much appreciated. And if you want to hit the subscribe button inside your feed so you can see what we're doing, and tell your friends, because we really like doing this, and we'll be back. We'll let you know when, but we will be back.
Thank you to all. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. I'm just going to post a link in the chat for a Rampage run on Postal Redux. Definitely check it out. It's a great, fun gameplay mode. And so if you haven't seen it yet, then yeah, take a look. Cool. There you go. Oh, no,
thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
See ya.
And only the same song, that same song can lead me to the bottom. But yeah, the same song, that same song can lead me here tomorrow. But yeah, the same song, that same song can lead me to my sorrows. But yeah, the same song, that same song leads me when it comes on, it takes me to that place where I'm from. The words of the song help me remember right where I was. The time and the way it made me feel that way on that day. Same song. It's always the same one, that same song that drags me to the bottom. It's always the same words, those same sounds I wish I had forgotten. It's always the same song, that same song